right, it is Tuesday, October 24, 6:55 a.m. Just getting started here, and just going to see some measured moves where we're at. It looks like we got a measured move there. Maybe there's a larger one. It seems too large. So, try that. We're still inside of yesterday's high. And don't see any setups happening quite yet for me here. I'm going to just pause here and see what sets up. And about yesterday's loss, what I ultimately concluded with my loss yesterday is just I took an unnecessary loss by not having my stop in the right place. And I need to make sure that I don't trade with fear when it comes to my stop. I know my stops are rather large. The risk reward isn't great, but the strategy tends to work very good, as we can see here with my stats. And so I just have to trust in my system, put my stops where I know they belong. And if they get hit, they get hit. Or if it's well into a trade, I can adjust if I need to. But to adjust it too early on, it gives me a disadvantage, because even though I'm trying to limit my loss, I will maximize my loss by taking more losses if my stop just isn't in the right place, because it's going to get hit more often. So it's a judgment call. There are times where it's good for me to move it and keep the loss, minimal. But yesterday was just, I went into the trade with a bad mindset from the beginning, because I didn't even have my stop in the right place when the trade started, and I didn't move it into the right place until the last second, and I almost got, a loss even quicker. So that's really all I'm thinking about yesterday's loss, is just to take it as a lesson to not mess with where the stop goes from the start of the trade, especially. All right, let's see what we get. All right, recording here to see if we get an LO.
Order submitted.
Bullish bar. See on the close. Definitely not there. Could be on a bullish bar here. Although I think the low is going to be too low. Okay, so it's not happening here.
Order canceled.
I'll pause. I'll be watching this for PB to the short side.
Order submitted.
Not yet, need a close lower. Not good for PB.
Order canceled.
Just a white subjective version. This opening price line is acting as support since the open. might be a secondary PB if it closes down here. Be ready just in case.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Okay. Get
Order
ready again
submitted.
for short PB possibly. So again, if the close is kind of down here somewhere, I might have a PB. Looks like we're going the other direction.
Order canceled.
Now we're kind of, and this price action is getting a little tough to read because it could go either way here for me. It seems like it wants to move higher still. I think I'm kind of in a zone here where there's no trade for me coming up. I'll wait for the next one to set up. So, ever since the open, we're pretty much just in a range here. And, I'll be the first to admit that this strategy I've come up with, the weakest spot it has is in these sorts of ranges. A lot of false signals, a lot of traps if you're not following your rules according to what my setups are. So I always have to just be careful when it's bouncing like this inside of a pretty tight range. But so far I haven't seen a valid setup. It's just that it might keep looking like a potential valid setup and then it won't happen because we're just bouncing in this range. So it doesn't quite get to the places of the chart where my setups happen. But eventually ranges end, and then my strategy is pretty good for the breakout of those ranges. So hopefully we'll get something. All right, watching this.
Order submitted.
Thinking potential OJ if it closes up here. These close higher. These close up here. Not quite. Not high enough. I don't think it's going to be an OJ up here. Let me see what happens on the close of the bar. I don't think this is going to work. You ready just in case? Yeah, it is.
Order filled. Order filled.
Great. That worked out well. I thought it was going to be a little too high to be OJ, but I got the signal on my indicator that it was good. And I put my stop in the right place this time, even though it was rather large. Just got to put it where it belongs. There's no pullback, so it didn't come into play anyway, but OJ is looking good. Looks like we are going to go for this measured move of the big leg. And we did get the 8-tick scalp. Everything looked good there. Yep. And now I'll be able to change. So OJ is 4-0 now. So I'll pause here and I'll adjust the stats up here, and we'll look for the next one. But that was like a perfect setup for the OJ. Haven't had a loss with that yet. That's only the 4th time I've taken it on YouTube or on my Apex accounts, and that seems like a solid setup, really solid. Just watching this here for a possible LO. We've got room to the previous day high.
Order submitted.
We need a bullish bar close up here. And for the bar to not come down any, it can't be an inside bar. Looks like it's struggling. Inside doji bar, so
order canceled.
Not going to qualify here. I'll pass on this. Let's keep waiting. Looks like we are making that move for that measured move for the previous day high. I've got no setup here. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets really close to this. So this thing looks like it's really trying to get up there. We'll see if it finally eventually does or not. It looks like it's going to roll off. So we'll see. But yeah, it'll be interesting because I don't think I'll be able to take any trades up here. I don't think there'll be any setups. So for me, if we go down, I think I have the best chance to find some more setups, but unless it just starts creating like a real trend up again, which it's been an up day. So maybe there is some kind of bigger uptrend that's going to take place. All right, I'm going to keep watching here. All right, I just got word that I'm going to have to stop here in about 5 minutes, 8 o'clock. And I'll probably be back around 9:30, 9:45, something like that. So just about an hour and 30 minutes to 2 hours I'm going to miss here, unfortunately. But at least I got my one trade in here. It makes me feel a little bit better. It makes me forget yesterday. I still will need a couple more trades to recover. I think it was 3 trades to recover what I lost yesterday on the one trade. Yeah, we got a win today, so I can stop here and not feel too frustrated at least. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. All right, it's 9:15. Got back a little bit early. Just kind of take in where we're at since I was away. Looks like we came very close to the measured move of the big leg, and had a slight breakout of the previous day's overnight high, and then failed to break out and came back in. And now we're right back at opening price again. Oh, excuse me for the sneeze. Wasn't quick enough to get to the mute button. Not sure there was any trades. I'm looking. There may have been one here that would have suffered a pullback, but if the stop was in the right place, which would have been here, looks like it would have survived the pullback. The entry would have been at 71.75 and the high here. So about a 6-point pullback would have had to live through. Funny enough, this was a PB. I saw it setting up right as I was walking out of the room. And I said, I'm not going to put myself in another situation like yesterday where I have to go somewhere and be on time and get into a trade with not enough time. And look at this. I mean, this would have been until the point where it came all the way back down here and worked. I mean, you're talking about 20 minutes, over 20 minutes. So I'm glad I learned my lesson from yesterday, because that would have been a real problem for me today. So I think that's just a good example of, trading. That's all part of it. It's like the psychological stuff and like the decision making and being responsible. And it would have been super irresponsible for me to take this trade, knowing that I had to get my kid to school today, and I would have been so late, and I would have been panicking through all of this, and who knows what kind of bad decisions I would have made again because of the pressure to leave. And so I'll take yesterday's lesson, hopefully carry it with me so that I don't end up in these sorts of situations again, because yesterday's loss was really annoying. I mean, it's fine for the accounts, like nothing's in like bad shape. Like my system is kind of set up so that no single loss, no single red day should be able to like wipe out my accounts on the system. Like there's no way to really revenge trade using the system, which we've all had problems with before. So, by sticking to my rules and only taking the gold setups, it's like it would be really hard to just blow up an account in one day. It's probably going to take a back-to-back day of bad trades to really do it. And if I was on a live self-funded account, I mean, it would be, it would take a long time to do that if my capital had any decent amount of money in it, because I wouldn't be up against a trailing drawdown. So the trailing drawdown with Apex is what makes it really challenging to trade, any strategy really, because, you could be mid-trade and it goes up, 6 ticks in your favor, and then you end up losing. Let's say you lose 5 points. You've just lost 6.5 points, but you've lost an additional 6 ticks plus commission of your drawdown in addition to what you lost. So it's just a little bit more of a challenging game in terms of managing the Apex accounts for the drawdown. So that's why I like this system. It's working for me. And, I can't get a payout until the 1st through the 5th anyways. So I'm still a couple $100 down from where I was on this account and this account, but there's time to build it back up one trade at a time. Let's see what we get here. Also, I'm just looking at this and thinking, is there some kind of measured leg down? I mean, this was the first obvious one, which was already met, but maybe there's something like this. Which seems reasonable. I'll leave that there for now. Looks like we're gonna hit it in not too long regardless, but I am enjoying doing this sort of thing just to kind of have an idea of where things might go. We already had the measured leg down of the smaller leg when I wasn't here. So this is kind of the next obvious thing. And the day, maybe it's just going to end up looking kind of rangy by the end of the day. We'll see what happens when it reaches kind of back down here at the lows of the overnight. Again, all these things are just things I've picked up along the way, mainly from trading Max Pat system and folding some of these measured legs into what I'm doing now with my new strategy. If anyone's watching this for the first time, this is just me documenting my trading on my Apex accounts using a new strategy that I have my indicator to the left. And so I don't show my indicator on this chart. I'm not trying to teach a strategy. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to trade. I'm simply documenting my journey with the strategy that an indicator that I've noticed, visually there's certain patterns that when they happen tend to work for 6 or 8 tick scalps. So, and I'm just applying rules and conditions to what makes a objective trade versus a subjective trade. And that's what I'm documenting here. And just to see if I can build up accounts, get payouts, get more PAs, pass evaluations, and if I can do it consistently and make money using the system. And then that way the whole journey will be documented for whichever way this goes, whether it's a success or a failure. We'll see it all on YouTube. And, I'm not sure if there's ever reason to stream live. I'm not against it. Right now, I don't have a whole lot of viewers, but if anyone were to leave comments and say they'd want me to do this live, I would stream live. I don't have a problem with that. So maybe if we get some comments and some likes and things over time, maybe I'll start just streaming live instead of recording it. But for now, it seems like it keeps the videos shorter by just having a live recording session recorded. And I just post at the end of the day with my review of the day. All right, I'm going to pause here and see if we get any setups. Nothing seems obviously ready to set up at the moment. Watching this for possible LO if we have a bearish bar down here.
Order submitted.
Going for the measured move. Whoa.
Order filled.
Oh, that's a bad trade. Get out. I'm not supposed to be in this trade. That wasn't a good trade. It's not the right signal. Hopefully I'll get lucky. I was not supposed to enter this. I'll take break even +1. Oh, this is bad. Please let me out. This was not a setup. This doesn't qualify. I entered too soon. I didn't look properly. This was definitely a mistake. What did I do? Come on, get me out. Get me out, please. Get me out, please. Get me out, please. Please get me out. This is bad. This was just a total error on my part. Please let me out. Complete error on my part. This was not a trade. Ugh. Just hoping the measured move is valid, and it's not there yet, so it'll get there. This feels terrible. Total mental. Big mistake. Big mistake. It was not a valid signal. Maybe I'll get lucky, please. I just want the break even +1. Should probably just take break even. Come on, get me out of this. Please let me out. Please let me out. This is a terrible feeling, entering a trade that wasn't a setup. I just missed it. Just didn't see it right. It's going to punish me. Please let me out. I just want to break even +1. That's all I'm asking for. This is terrible. This is terrible. I might move my stop down to this last pivot. I'm just gonna have to suck up a loss here, I think. I was not supposed to be in this trade at all. Just hoping I can get lucky and get out. Please let me out. Break even +1. I realize my mistake. Please let me out. Come on. Please let me out. I even take just break even. Oh. No, so I might just kill it here. Just let me out.
Order
There.
filled.
Oh, and this is a setup right now.
Order submitted.
This is now low right now.
Order submitted.
Oh, did I make a mistake? Oh, God. This is stressful. I got my break even +1, and now I made a mistake. I should have just stayed out after all that. Jeez. Tough, tough, tough. Oh boy. That's a mistake. I should have just been happy with my break even +1. What a mistake. Frustrating for sure. Yeah, break even +1 again. If I can. I think that's just greed setting in that I tried to take this trade after getting lucky to get out. Already at the measured move too. I wasn't even paying attention to that. If it comes back down, I might try to get a little bit more out of this.
Order filled.
It's locking in, so I can't
Order
lose.
filled.
Okay. I'll take it. I mean, this is a valid setup for the LO. I'm just completely thrown off my game from entering the bad trade. So I entered a bad trade, then I entered a good trade. I've just lost all perspective of what I'm doing here. So, what am I going to say? This was not a trade that I was supposed to enter. This was invalid, LO, break even, +1. And then look, this would have worked, but because I was so thrown off by this, and then I entered, just totally messed up my psychology. This was a LO, and I took break even +1. I mean, honestly, I'm not even gonna put these two trades in my stats because that was just ridiculous. Would have worked. The low here is 49 and 46.50. So yeah, I would have got my 6 or 8 tick scalp. Just didn't feel good about it. Frustrating. So what I look for is there's a line on my indicator. I look for a touch, and then I look for a no touch. And this was still touching when I thought it was not touching, and I entered below it. And then once I entered, I realized it was still touching. This one, however, was correct. This one was touching, and this one was not touching. And then I enter below that, and it looks like my fill was bad here too. So I'm not even sure what happened here entirely. I'm gonna have to sort it out, and calm my nerves. But that was very frustrating. Okay. And by the way, we're already at the measured move. So this is a situation where if I wasn't so frazzled by being in a trade I wasn't supposed to be in, maybe I would have had clearer mind to recognize that we were already at the measured move. There wasn't room. And so really I shouldn't be taking a trade into that at that point. It's too low. So just everything here, just bad for me. And I'm just lucky and fortunate that I was able to get out without losses. Let me sort out if the break even +1 was correct for both of these. All right, so just calming my nerves now. I checked these numbers, and this was, 2 trades. So 2 trades, break even +1 on both. I'm so frazzled by the fact that I took a trade that wasn't a setup. That's the first time I've done that on this strategy that I can remember. Definitely the first time since I've been on YouTube. So human error here, definitely not counting that towards my overall. This one was a legit LO. And if this didn't happen and I took this trade and I got scared and took break even +1, I would have still counted this as a win ultimately. So I'll count this one. I'm not going to count this one because this doesn't apply to my strategy. This one fit the rules and did apply. And if I wasn't doing measured legs and this didn't happen, I would have probably stuck this out for the full amount because there was nothing wrong about it. So I'll fix that for here. All right, so I just adjusted these numbers based on one trade. There's one valid trade. And just for simplicity reasons, even when I take a break even +1, since they are technically profitable trades, I'm just counting it as a win and a win and a loss instead of doing break evens. If I do a legit break even where I'm not making any money on the trade and I'm losing commissions, then that will count as a loss. And if I do a break even +1, that's just going to count as a win, just to keep it simpler to keep the stats. But wow. All right, I need to take a break just to get the bad feeling of taking an invalid trade out of my head. And I'll be back in a few. All right, so just kind of recovering from this a little bit. I think I did the right thing. I really felt lucky to get out of this trade break even +1 over here. And then once I was out of the trade, I realized, oh, wait, this is a valid one, which is what I wanted to really wait for. And I entered just kind of, I don't even know how to explain it, just completely compulsively, just based on a valid trade. And of course, when it immediately pulled back, I was just like thinking like, why would I risk re-entering right where I got out based on a bad trade? It was the same exact entry essentially. So, and actually this arrow should be here. So this is the LO, and this is the entry for it. So yeah, it's like a tick worse entry than here. And, I think I did the right thing. I originally had my total profit target for break even +1. I like that I moved it down to I think 5 or 6 ticks and then moved my break even +1 down. As you can see, it would have ultimately worked no matter what for the 6 or 8 ticks. But given my state of mind and that there was some support here, there was this measured move, which maybe other people saw too, and that's why there was the support forming. It could have easily just bounced the other way there. It really could have. I've taken losses like that before that looked like that. So the one thing I could say though is it was still just the first, second attempt here. So but I'm fine with it. Look, again, I've said this before, but I'd rather my numbers look like this than be red. And they could have easily been read by taking an invalid trade. They could have easily been read by just taking a trade on the heels of that, where I just was in the right frame of mind to be entering a trade again right away. I really didn't look at this to clearly enough to see if it was valid. It was. And then, of course, you know, a great LO was right here. This was a great LO. That really would have been the best one to take here. That would have been the best LO. And obviously I was so out of my mind here that I wasn't even looking anymore at this point. Take a deep breath and walk away for a second. So really, you know, if you look at it, 2 LOs in a row would have worked here. And it's unfortunate that I entered this. This just was, I thought this was not touching, and it was. So that's the whole thing about LO. LO is liftoff, and this wasn't a liftoff, and that's why it was invalid. Anyway, we shall continue. Interesting day for me. We've got a lot of time here. I'm going to try to be more precise. Try for no more human errors today. But look, we're all human. And stuff happens. And luckily it didn't cost me another red day. So moving on. Shake it off. All right, here we go. All right, recording here.
Order submitted.
Possible OJ. Has to go 2 ticks below this bar, the red bar. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Oh, inside bar.
Order canceled.
Okay. That would have been a good OJ if it ticked 2 ticks below. It might still do it, but I don't take trades unless they tick 2 ticks below in the next bar after the signal bar. I've seen that OJs seem to work even if they, you know, even in cases where it ticks only 1 tick at first and then ultimately it eventually works. I haven't seen an inside bar happen yet. So this is the first time I'm witnessing an inside bar before the trigger. And I have just no data on this, so I can't even consider taking it. As far as I'm concerned right now, it just doesn't even count as a official OJ since it didn't trigger. I'll pause here and see if anything else comes up. All right, recording here again to see if we
Order
get another
submitted.
OJ here. If the close is at the bottom, it might qualify. Doesn't look like it will. No.
Order
Okay.
canceled.
We'll just keep watching this. All right. Just looking at this, kind of thinking we reached the overnight low again, feeling very range like that. It bounced exactly there. You can see how there wasn't really much more room below here, just to the lows. And I'm thinking maybe we're going to look for this second leg here, which doesn't have too much further to go. which is interesting because there's a potential for a PB to set up here. So now if it does kind of trigger up here somewhere, it'll make me think twice about entering that. So we'll just have to see how things progress here. Still trying to recover from those trades previously. This really stressed me out today. So the fact that I have a measured move here and a potential PB in the same place, I probably will not take it and just observe, considering how my day has gone with this crazy stuff here. I really don't want to take a bad trade because I'm just kind of not feeling my normal self at the moment. Again, another day where psychology, is playing a big part. Normally, if a PB triggered up here, I would be so confident because I haven't been drawing these measured moves. But after this and seeing the measured move, I'm a little bit unsure. Although I think there's reason to believe why it would continue to go up. Because we've hit the bottom of the potential range and at least get back to the midline probably. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be a PB sets up right now. And I took a loss on the PB yesterday. My first loss on it. It's like almost a perfect measured move right now. I'm just curious to see if it even sets up. I'm going to get my order ready just in case.
Order
I
submitted.
don't know if I'm going to really take this or not. If it closes up at the top. It needs to close like right at the measured move for it to be a PB. Down here is too low. So nothing there. If it were to close up here, it would be a PB. It would be a really large stop, 44.75. Like a 10-point stop. It actually reminds me a lot of like yesterday's PB that I lost on, the way it looks on my indicator. It's giving me kind of flashbacks to yesterday. The one that pulled all the way back. And if I didn't have my stop, or if I left my stop at the 10-point place that belonged, I would have been saved after a huge pullback. For anyone that didn't see that, that's a fun video to watch. Okay, maybe it's not going to set up here. It would have to close basically where the top of my measured move is up here for this to be a PB.
Order
Looks like it's not
canceled.
going to happen right now. I wonder if I can go back and find the one from yesterday. Yeah, the one from yesterday, leg up. Leg up. This one's higher. It's a little different. But this one didn't even set up or trigger yet. Okay, looks like it's just not happening. Hit the measured move to the tick and then pulling back. It's still possible it can happen over here somewhere. I'll pause here and I'll just see if something happens. I'll come back. And I just realized that the dogs weren't fed, so I gotta go feed the dogs and take them out. This looks like a potential PB right here if it closes up here. It doesn't look like it's going to again. So since it seems like its measured move is complete and maybe it won't trigger a PB, I'm going to walk away and feed the dogs. I'm sure I'll probably miss a great setup right now. But I could use the break anyways. My heart's still pumping from over here. I'll be back. All right, it's just almost 10:45. I'm just getting back to the chart right now from taking care of the dogs. And it looks like I absolutely missed just after I left. This was a PB, and it worked brilliantly. So in this case, measured leg didn't matter. Actually, no, I take it back. I mean, it's a PB, but there was an inside bar after it didn't trigger. So I don't take these when they trigger this way. The trigger has to be right after the signal bar, which would have been this one. And so yeah, if I was here, I would not have taken that trade now that I'm looking at it a little more clearly. So I didn't miss anything. Perfect. I always try to keep the recording of my live session on the shorter side if possible. And I see we're already getting up to an hour, I think, because of all my craziness around here. Probably has quite a bit of the recording. Should be interesting to listen back, I suppose. So I'm going to pause and wait for a setup because I don't like to just, I don't want to have a 2-hour recording of the live session. But all in all, I should feel good. I'm at 86% overall. The LO is 80% now with just counting this one, not counting this trade because that was not a valid trade. And 11-1 on the PB, 92%. OJ's 4-0, 100%. I got to remind myself and look at these numbers because these are really good numbers. And, I made an error here, mental mistake entering this trade. That wasn't a legitimate trade for me. Which affected, when there was a legitimate trade, affected my decision making there, as well as I wasn't even looking at this point because I was just taking a break after all that. So I'm going to pause here, see if we get another trade. I'd be happy to take another trade if it's a great setup. And if there's no more trades, I'm also happy to just end my day this way. And, it's a little something towards the goal of all the accounts. So no single day should be a home run. No single day should be able to take me out and just wipe out the accounts. So the way things are going, I think for my strategy is all positive right now. And I got to just focus on the positive stuff and put the mistakes out of mind and focus on the good things I'm doing. All right, we'll break here and come back if something sets up. I just realized too, I forgot to talk about the OJ that never triggered. This bar here, the close down here was an OJ if this bar ticked 2 ticks below, and this bar didn't, but this bar did. And so if you entered on this inside bar, you would have taken a loss. So that's why that's part of my rules. I never enter after a signal bar if there's an inside bar first, before the trigger. And that seems to be a good rule. All right, that's all I had. I was just thinking about that. I'll be back. Watching this here to see if we get a close up here. May qualify as an OJ.
Order submitted.
Order ready. That's really going up. High. Gonna have to wait and see with the close of the bar if this qualifies. $17 tick bar. Doesn't look like it's going to close at the top, or does it? Let's see what happens here. No, it's not an OJ.
Order canceled.
Doesn't qualify. All right, I'll be back. So this thing just keeps moving up. There was something that resembled an LO here on this bar. With all the bars stacking up, I just didn't feel like I could even consider it. So I skipped it. Again, it might be just the case of me having too many rules applied to the LO. And if I loosened up the rules and took more, I'd have more winners. This one would have worked. This one would have worked. So they do lose sometimes, but I'm trying to figure out, what the rate of loss is. Is it an 80% setup? Is it 85%? Is it 90%? Is it better? With such a small sample size, it's hard to say right now. But if I was just taking every time I saw an LO, I feel like I'd have a lot more trades. The question is, how many more losses would I have versus how many more wins? I believe it'd be a lot more wins than losses, but it's just hard to say. The other thing I did was I was just thinking, okay, it keeps moving up. Maybe it's one leg up and a second leg up. So I drew this in just to kind of see if that's a possibility. It doesn't look like we're anywhere near getting a setup currently. So I'll just keep hanging out watching. I've got about an hour left for today. And it's one of those days where I definitely feel like I want to protect my green. So we'll only take perfect setups and definitely won't take something that is invalid. All right, let's see what happens. Wow, what a move. Already got to this measured move, basically. So no idea what's going to happen next, but this definitely a strong move up. And, it's interesting. I'll just draw this. If I was a max trader, price action trading system still, be right at the top of their channel. And what I saw as an LO was right off of key entry point. First entry, second entry, no signal bar for them. But just kind of interesting to see that. I don't like drawing this stuff because I'm not trading that system anymore, and my setups aren't based on that. But just interesting to look at that, see the measure move up, see it hit to the tick before a pullback. So I definitely like applying some of that. But and then there's situations where you draw that and you still get a good setup here that would have ultimately worked, even though it's below the measured move, and this one's right at the measured move, already hit. Good setup, still had more room to go to the bottom, that would have worked. So I don't think I can make a hard rule about you can't trade into it, but I think you just have to be very aware and make sure you're very confident in your setup if you're going to take it into the measured move. Anyway, 2 legs up, perfect move. It's crazy. Look at that, like to the tick before a pullback. That was something that always did really impress me, from what I learned about max price action trading. So I like to see that. Let's go from here. See what happens. I was just not paying attention, talking to my wife, and this might be an LO right here.
Order
Consider trading
submitted.
it. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. Okay, it's going the other direction. If it ticks below this bar, then it's invalid. I don't like that it pulled all the way back down before triggering. The fact that it came all the way down here before triggering up here makes me feel some sort of way, even if it does trigger. 2 ticks above this should be an LO. I really don't like that the bar came all the way back down to the bottom. I'm going to just stay out of this. It looks like it's not going to trigger. I think I'm going to stay out of it even if it did at this point. Just because that would be unusual for the setup.
Order canceled.
No trade. This was the LO bar here. No trigger. It's 12:03. Looks like we're just trying to make our way back up to the top again. Such a strange day. Just kind of a rangy day. break out of the previous day's highs, break out of the overnight high. But it really just, yeah, something like that, with the opening price being in the middle of the range, basically right in the middle. Anyway, so yeah, 12:05 just about, so not much time left in the day. Considering how these trades went for me today, I'm more than happy to end the day with this amount for the accounts. And this gets back about a third of what I lost yesterday. So, 2 full trades gets me back to where I was before my loss yesterday. So whether I get 2 tomorrow or 1 tomorrow and 1 the next day or whatever it is, hopefully I can finish out the week strong and, finish it at least a little bit green, if not full green. And definitely, I should be able to get 2 trades and get that loss back regardless by the end of the week. 2 trades. So, well, how are we going to count this? 2 real trades so far this week and 1 that shouldn't have been a trade, but we'll just count it as as part of my keeping track of the strategy. I'm not going to count this one. This one I'll count. It was a break even for +1 for the day, but as far as the stats go, break even +1 is still a win. Small profit, but a win is a win. So, all right. Well, I'll talk about all that in the wrap up. See what we get for the last 20 minutes. All right. It's just about 12:30 right now, and I feel like I've had enough for the day. I don't think anything's going to set up quite right now. And even if it did, I'm pretty worn out after what went on here. And it's been pretty choppy sideways, move up, choppy sideways. And I'm happy with today. It's been a good day. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to stop this and start making my wrap-up video review for the other video in the other playlist. And thanks for watching. Today was kind of a interesting, funny day for me in here. But I did have this really great, perfect OJ setup. So that was awesome. Kind of bummed that I took this one because I would have been in a better frame of mind for this. And so I feel like if I hadn't been in this, I probably could have been in this, and then I maybe could have possibly entered again on this one too, if my frame of mind had been different. Anyway, I'll discuss all of this in my wrap-up video. Check it out, and see ya. We'll do it again tomorrow. Thanks.